Hi there, my name is Georgia Plowman, and today I'm going to be presenting to you a short documentary on one of the largest predators in the world, the killer whale. The killer whale, also known as an orca, is a large marine mammal that has distinct black and white markings across its body. Interestingly, the killer whale is in fact a member of the dolphin family. Killer whales live in large groups called pods, and each pod is different in their form of communication and language, and what they eat and how they hunt. In their natural environment, killer whales can travel up to 160 kilometers per day. Killer whales are one of the most largely distributed animals across the globe, so you typically tend to find them in most places. However, they prefer cold waters. So if you were to look for them, you would find them in the Antarctic region, in the northern Atlantic, across the west coast of Canada and America, and also off the east coast of Australia and New Zealand as well. These magnificent creatures can live up to 50 to 80 years of age, weigh up to 6 tons and stretch to about 23 to 32 feet long. In short, they're massive. So is it possible to domesticate such a large mammal? And the answer, sadly, is yes. Numerous theme parks around the world have successfully domesticated these animals. It's been done in the US, Japan, in parts of Europe, and even in Australia. Killer whales are intelligent creatures and can learn new behaviors and skills, and as mentioned earlier, are capable of adapting to different environments. And these traits, some could argue, make them ideal for domestication. By having them domesticated, researchers have gained a better understanding of their behavioral traits, their skills and abilities, as well as the physiological structure and functions of their brain. But they've also been exploited for our own entertainment and enjoyment. So how else, outside of domestication, have we changed this animal's life? We have played quite a significant role in the lives of killer whales. In the last 50 years, we've altered a few things. The first one is our just general population growth. And because of this, we have an increasing demand for food. And now we have become one of the orcas' major competitors for fish. For instance, orcas feed on salmon. And due to our fishermen exhausting this food supply, they have started seeking an alternative food source, things like rockfish and lingcod. And although this is a fine alternative, our presence just pushes them to seek further for food. Another change is just the general level of pollution that we tend to emit, not only in our air but in our water too. For example, we increase the level of mercury exposure, the level of oil spills. What about abandoned marine toxic waste sites, industrial pollution, exhaust emissions, and just general underwater noise? And lastly, because of our population growth, orcas in the wild are never too far away from a human being. This increases the threat of colliding with passing ships, fishing boats, whale watching tours, and just general pleasure-seeking boat rides. This all sounds rather horrible, but it's not all bad. Our interaction has taught us a great deal about how the orcas live in the wild, and due to this knowledge, we know more than we ever have, and we can work in positive ways to ensure protection from some of the dangers we can impose. So what else? Are these animals smart, and do they feel emotion? And the answers to both of these questions is yes. Orcas are intelligent creatures, and this is undeniable. It's evident in the way they hunt. Orcas hunt in their pods, and the pods work together in a sophisticated fashion in order to capture their prey. And scientists have found that each pod has different strategies in their hunting techniques. But the one thing that they all have in common is that they all communicate and cooperate with each other throughout the entire process. Another thing that makes them unique is that no pod communicates in the same way. They all have different languages and different dialects. They can also learn new behaviors, and they can recognize that they have a sense of self. This is evident in captivity. When they are asked to perform tricks, they can mimic trainers, and they can mimic other whales as well. So they're smart, and they're emotionally complex as well. Research actually suggests that orcas are just, if not more, emotionally complex than we are. MRI scans on their brain have revealed that orcas have a large and complex limbic system, the area associated with emotion. Within the limbic system, there are these things called spindle cells, and these spindle cells are involved in the processing of social information and empathy. And in the orca, they're large. They're much larger than the ones we have in our own brains. It is hard to argue that they can't feel emotion to the same extent we do, when their brain structure and function works in similar ways to our own. You can also see it in their behavior. When orcas in captivity have been separated from their youngs, you can see mothers calling out in despair and floating motionless in tanks for hours on end, almost as if they're depressed. And you can see when they're enjoying themselves too. Trainers can tell when they're frustrated or unfocused, and they can also tell when they're happy. So should we care about their welfare? Most definitely. In captivity, there have been deaths and serious injuries of both whales and humans due to our neglect. They are placed in sterile tanks that are nowhere near equivalent to the environment of the open water. They are placed with killer whales that are from different communities, which results in conflict and aggression, and some have been separated from their young. In the wild, we have the potential to damage their health too, through our level of noise, air, and water pollution. Some say that whales beach themselves because they are stressed and our activity in the water has led to increasing their stress. Their welfare is important because neglect in captivity can lead to dangerous events, and neglect in the wild could lead to unnecessary death. So what does this mean for the future of the killer whale? The future is always going to be uncertain, but it's looking better than what it was a few years ago. Since the exposure of how these animals are treated in captivity, there has been a growing pressure for stronger protection laws for killer whales. In captivity, policies and laws are upheld by the Animal Welfare Act and the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and these policies have outlined stricter conditions to make sure that killer whales are well cared for. Out in the open water, we might face some problems, but with the growth of technology, there will be new ways to reduce pollution, and this is only going to aid the orca. In saying this, there's always going to be challenges. Controversy still remains as to whether or not killer whales in captivity should be legal or illegal. But for the meantime, they face no threat of extinction. The killer whale is extraordinary. It is resilient, intelligent, devoted, strong, and in some ways complicated like we are. It is a master of the sea and will be so for many more years to come. The future is bright. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.